Hello. This video will cover all the basics to the introduction to impact calculus in a debate round. As a lesson preview, this lesson will cover two things. One, what impact calculus is, and two, how to use impact calculus and the key words that come with this method. So what is impact calculus? Impact calculus is an important way to weigh between different arguments to determine which arguments are the most important. If you make a bunch of arguments in a round, but you never tell the judge which arguments are the most important, the judge isn't going to know where to vote on and who to vote for. So it is your job to prove to your judge why your arguments are the most important in the round, and the way to do that is impact calculus. Strategically speaking, these arguments are usually made in the last two rebuttal speeches of a round. In LD, in the Tuinar, the second negative rebuttal, and the Tuiar, the second affirmative rebuttal. In policy debate, also the Tuinar and the Tuiar. And in public forum, the two final focus speeches, one for the F and one for the neg. Key terms for impact calculus. If you want to effectively use impact calculus within a round, it is better off to learn a couple of key terms that will allow you to utilize impact calculus in the most efficient way possible. So usually the key sentence that you should start on when you're doing impact calculus is, my arguments or impacts outweigh my opponent's impacts on blank. And so these are the list of key terms that you want to use when you're carrying out impact calculus within a debate. The first one is magnitude. This proves why your impact is more harmful than your opponent's impacts. The second one is probability. Your impact is more probable than your opponent's impacts. The third one is time frame. Your impact will come sooner than your opponent's impacts, so therefore the judge should care about your impact more. The fourth one is scope. Your impact will affect more people or more areas or more animals than your opponent's impacts. So essentially, your impact will affect greater things than your opponent's. The fifth is reversibility. Your impact cannot be reversed, while your opponent's impacts can. For example, if we have a nuclear war, that cannot be reversed because the lasting effects of the nuclear war causes a nuclear winter, a nuclear firestorm, or even maybe other lasting effects like famine and food shortages. But your opponent's impacts could be reversible. For example, decrease in democratic values can always be reversed because people can promote democratic values, and therefore your opponent's impacts can be reversed. The sixth one is cyclicality. This proves why your impact will continue in a cycle. For example, poverty. If someone is stuck in poverty, then they will not be able to go out of poverty because they don't have the money to find oil for their car, to transport themselves into other places, and therefore they cannot get a job interview, and this leads to more poverty where they cannot find any money. And so when you're using impact calculus in a round, you can embed impact calculus within making your own arguments and also in your last speech. For example, if I am moving on to my second contention, I can say my second contention outweighs on magnitude because nuclear war affects everyone on Earth. And then you can say, and thus our impact was basically conceded in my opponent's last speech, so this is why my first contention is the most important in this round, and because my opponent dropped it, it means that you should directly vote on this contention. That is an example of how to use impact calculus that is embedded within your speech. And sometimes it's better to embed impact calculus in your speech because then you can be more efficient and you don't have to set a separate time for impact calculus on its own. Thank you, and I hope you learned a lot about impact calculus and how to use it in a debate round.